So come on, let it go. Just let it be. Oh, why don't you be you and I'll be me? That is the most iconic lyrics coming from this guy that I'm talking to right now, the one and only James Bay. Hello, James.
The rendition, that was a beautiful rendition. Thank you for that. Oh, Kiana, you crushed it. Nice.
I should apologize, actually. I think I might have, there was a completely different version. That's not how I sound like. Yeah,
You know what? And in the time it takes us to get back to touring in the way that we want it to happen, what we should do is, if I can't get out to you, if you could do my gigs, that would be good. If my fans just come to see you do my songs until I can get back out there.
James, I'll be honored. You go out there. If you're having a sore throat at that point of time, it's okay. Lip sync. I'll be the one helping you from the backstage, all right?
Done deal. I love
ourselves a deal. Okay, James, let's start off straight off the bat before we go up close and personal with you about, life in this pandemic and life as James Bay in general. Let's talk about Chew on My Heart first, okay? Yes. Who was the first person that heard that song when you first completed it?
That's a great question. The first person who heard that song is the person the song was written for. So the song, I really wrote this song Lucy, my girlfriend, the song is about some of my experience with her and our sort of time together and our relationship. And I don't know. I think she sort of picked up on that immediately. But when I played her the song, I was saying, hey, listen to this. It feels like an exciting, like a great song, kind of feels like it could be a single. I was talking all kind of technical because I'd written the kind of emotion of the song. So I played, and she put the headphones on and she got into it in that kind of technical way. But I know she's listening to the words and I know she's listening to the melodies and she's listening to the whole kind of combination of all the parts together. But she is my most kind of trusted opinion. She will always be completely honest. So I came to her with that song and I was so excited. And she will understand that I'm excited, but she won't let that blur how she feels. And I need that. So she was the first person I played it to.
That is so beautiful. I actually figured, because you guys have been together for 13 years already, right? 13 years.
Yeah, long time.
Long-term relationship. That's something that perhaps this generation is struggling with. How do people sustain a relationship for so long? So let's hear it from the man himself. What is your secret to having a relationship lasting for 13 years and counting?
I think, so somebody did ask me this really kind of, maybe for the first time the other day, about like a secret. And I don't think there is one. I think every day is new and every day is a mystery. And you kind of can't, there are no sort of secrets that can get you through something you don't know about. A new day is something you don't know about. You just have to navigate it. And you have to do it with sort of patience and understanding and joy and excitement and curiosity. So I try and just hold on to that stuff. And really, it's a sort of trust thing as well. I think we just feel like we sort of love, each other and fit together. And that's just something to kind of enjoy. I don't think you shouldn't overthink. And that, all respect to your question, I think to consider there's some sort of secret is to kind of overthink it a little bit. And I think it's just about just embrace the ride,
Yeah, like you said, just navigate through it. There's going to be bad days. There are going to be good days. Either way, just enjoy.
Yeah, try and separate yourself from the more intense emotions. Go through them and then step away from them and kind of look back and observe. And
right. I love that. And you and Lucy have been together since you guys were studying.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, that's exactly right. We kind of met in the same little hometown, and we were friends, and then it was more. And it's been a wild ride for both of us as far as really, this music I've been making sort of suddenly getting played all around the world. It's been quite an intense experience. And obviously we had each other for a good few years before it already started. So that's been so important for both of us. And we've been able to share the experience in a pretty great way as well,
It's a very healthy relationship, I believe.
Yeah, totally.
And you guys are such a great couple, 13 years down the road already. I know you've been writing so many songs about Lucy, Sure. And will she know it beforehand? Like, babe, I wrote the song about you, or you're going to make her listen to it first? Who do you think it's about? I mean, obviously, if you pull that card, she would know.
I don't sort of tell her. I don't say.
She would know it by heart, I believe.
Yeah, it's that really. So that can be an intense experience. But I think I just have to write the songs. I have to honor the reality that as a songwriter, you have to speak so directly from the heart. You can't let anything kind of intercept you're approaching a subject. So I got to write them, and I always, she's going to hear them at some point. So I show her pretty early on. And that's always a good experience.
And that brings me to my next question, because you mentioned that, it has to come from the heart. All your songwriting process, everything you put out there, it has to come from here, from the inside. That's the most important part.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate? I'm sure throughout your journey, there has been days, there has been years where, you really had to look at the demand. Okay, the songs like this, it's doing really well. Should I go with that? But even though my heart isn't really there, have you ever gone through that kind of process before, James?
Yeah. That happens all the time. That almost happens. That almost happens every time I write a song, because at the beginning of writing a song, you have all those choices to make. You can go dive into Spotify and go, okay, what's good? What do people like? What's working? It just seems a little bit insincere to the process, and it seems it often there's nothing really wrong with doing that. People do it; it's okay. For who I am as an artist and as a creator, it's not personal enough for me. I can try that, and I never really finish those songs, because they just sort of fizzle out and die out in the process of being created, because they're never really real enough or honest enough to me and to what I actually want to say. So I respect the process. It's a valid version of songwriting, but it's just never quite sort of holds true for me.
Right. And we all know through your music that you do things from the heart, especially Let It Go.
Yeah.
I think even till this date, people are still relating to the song so much. It's timeless, and that's the power of music that comes from the heart, or at least that's something that I believe in.
Thank you. I first released that song in 2014. That's 6 years ago. And so
it's been that long? 6 years already? Yeah. I was in school.
There you go. You talked about that song just then with such passion, and it is. I don't quite know how to sort of put into words how exciting that is for me, that I've made a song that has sort of affected for that amount of time. But it's just, I can't thank you enough really for even sort of caring about that song to this day, and to anybody else listening who is feeling something from that song, because I guess, at the same time, I do experience people like yourself coming to me, very recently and in the present day, saying, I've just heard this song that you wrote, it's really moved me, it's done so much for me, and it's amazing that, because songs exist maybe for a year or so, and then they kind of disappear into the past, and it's hard to get them to kind of come back to the surface again, because you can't control whether they do or don't. But you are a testament to that song sort of standing up, so thank you.
Yeah, and there are songs like Let It Go, and even like the Beatles, let's say All You Need Is Love, that has been around for so long, and it's still something that when we listen, we're like, that is so true. All you need is love. It's very simple, but it hits right here. And back then, I remember that you were spotted. Basically, you were performing at open mics, and it was a video that went online, and that was the one that got you signed immediately. So there are a lot of struggling artists out there, even in Malaysia as well, who are doing open mics, here and there with zero pay most of the time. They want to be big stars, but they don't know how is that magic ever going to happen. So, as someone who has gone through that, what can you tell them to not lose hope?
Well, it's there are some important things. The oldest, most sort of timelessly important thing is that even if you know really deep down that you're trying to get recognized by record labels and people and get signed, even if you know that's what you want, and that's okay to want that, something has to come before that. And that is your eternal kind of undying love for being musical, for singing, for writing, for performing. That has to be at the front. If one day you realize that you're more desperate to get a record deal than you are to one day play to tens of thousands of people, or to write a song that's so brilliant that you have to want to do those things first, always. The other thing that is a little bit more of a kind of up-to-date sort of answer to that question that I think definitely applies is to embrace, I'm going to just say it like this, embrace social media. It doesn't mean that you have to be obsessed with using it, but allow your stuff to be shared, because we live in a world where you can write a song tonight and it can be heard by everybody in the world like a minute later. Not by the next night, like by the next night, everybody in the world can have heard it. So that doesn't mean that it's a very specific thing that I'm saying. That doesn't mean that you have to go and make sure and buy advertising and make sure your thing is getting pushed out all over Spotify. Don't do that, because that will come to you when the songs are brilliant, when you're writing songs that are fantastic, and that will come eventually with more and more practice. So just put your stuff out there in all the free ways that you can. And I'm not sort of promoting that music should be free, but we live in a world now where we can share. You can see it's a sort of a twisted thing.
Everything is accessible,
Allow for that. and just keep going, keep working, keep writing, keep singing, keep performing, keep playing your instrument, get better and better at those things, and eventually everything will drop into place, and people will be buying tickets to your shows and buying your records and streaming your music, and it'll be a good fun time.
James, those were beautiful tips. You know, it's not just one tip, multiple tips in one question there. And I specifically like when you said that it's okay to want to be famous one day, to want to have to want to be signed, to have your music being heard by millions of people. But the number one thing should be to love music as much as you can, you know, so that if all fails, that passion will still be there. The fire is still burning.
Absolutely. You have to keep checking with yourself.
I love this session so much. James, thank you for joining me here. And please, let's hope that once this pandemic is over, we can get James B right here in Malaysia, so we can cry not just by listening to the music on streaming platforms, but as well as watching you live and crying right in front of James B himself. Thank you, James.
Nice. No worries. Thank you, man. Thanks.